From tomorrow, that's Wednesday, thousands of young Australians under the age of 16 will lose access to their accounts across 10 social media platforms. Smartphone-free Childhood South Africa is calling on leaders and parents to actually seize this current moment to implement this culture shift. In a world first, Australian children under the age of 16 will no longer be able to access platforms including TikTok, Instagram and Snapchat from tomorrow, with more countries banning social media for under-16s. And the question is, should South Africa adopt the same stance? So to discuss this matter, we are joined by the head of strategy at Smartphone Free Childhood South Africa, Kate Farina. Kate, good to have you. Thanks very much for joining us.
It's amazing to be with you. Thank you, Leanne. As parents of teenagers, this resonates with us and with our families.
It absolutely does. Goodness me, to try and get kids off phones these days is one of the most difficult things. But let's talk to where we are at the moment. So as of tomorrow, Australia's new law kicks in, and it requires platforms like Meta, TikTok, YouTube to basically deactivate all accounts belonging to users under the age of 16 years old. This is a massive thing that's being introduced.
It is massive, and Australia's had to go this route, or has gone this route, because it's been 15 years of many lawsuits and a lot of public pressure, NGOs around the world, trying to get big tech to come to the party to put what we're calling seatbelts onto social media platforms to protect the young, vulnerable users that they're making a huge profit out of. So it has come to this, and we're going to see many of the European countries following suit. The EU has signaled that they too are going to be bringing in legislation right across Europe. And so we're going to see a great slide, I think, around the world. And the question really is, how are we going to be responding here in South Africa?
It is a big question. Have you heard rumours, mutterings, utterances, anything to the effect that our government is perhaps looking at this?
As an NGO, we've started engaging with our regulators. When it comes to regulating social media, it involves the Department of Communications and Digital Technology, the Film and Publication Board, as well as the information regulator. So we've got a range of interested regulators involved in this. We certainly started reaching out, and we would love to take this further in the new year with our advocacy approach that we have already set as an NGO.
I mean,
along with many other NGOs, by the way, because we are one of many that are interested in child safety and child online safety, and trying to put the protections in place that our children and our adolescents and our teenagers need. And indeed that parents need, because parents are at their wits' end trying to help keep their kids safe online, and we can't follow where they go.
We can't, and that's the reality. I mean, you know, they have these devices in their hands. They are going into places and seeing things that, unfortunately, as much as a parent would like to police it, it almost becomes impossible unless you're literally standing over their shoulder 24/7, watching exactly what they're watching, seeing who they're speaking to. You try and be there, but it's very, very difficult. Perhaps you can talk to us, you know, very briefly in terms of the negative impacts of these platforms. I think I know them all, but perhaps maybe we need to just emphasize some of the negative aspects of these platforms.
Well, basically, as soon as your child gets a smartphone or a tablet, and they're able to access particularly social media platforms, because they are hugely addictive. The algorithms suck them in and keep them pulled in. The content that they are shown and that they are fed is uncurated, it's unfiltered. The built-in parental controls are very basic. So really, most parents need to understand that you will not know what your children have been exposed to, that there's a co-parent involved, and that co-parent is big tech, which does not have your interests of your child at heart. So cyberbullying, sextortion, all sorts of adult content, all of this changing their beliefs and value systems, changing their self-esteem, body issues, all leading to what we've seen is a huge amount of anxiety, depression, self-harm, and even suicide as an epidemic amongst our teenage generation.
I feel it when I'm sitting on a device and I'm going through all of the social media, I feel the effect that it's having on me. I would hate to know what it's like on a child in a developing brain where, you're seeing all of this content. It's fast, it's a lot, it's swearing, it's nudity, it's everything. There is no filter, and you're quite right about that.
Yeah.
But many parents do feel disempowered, and I myself, one of them. I imagine, as you say, you've got children as well. Would a legislated ban at least give parents some leverage in order to set boundaries? Because right now, they're not doing anything wrong. They're just enjoying being online.
Yeah. So we try not to use the word ban. It sounds a little bit, very forceful. So what we are urging for are minimum age restrictions. So like we have with other products like alcohol, that we have legislated minimum age restrictions that are set in the interest of these young brains, these young developing prefrontal cortexes, where impulse control and ability to weigh up risk versus consequence is not yet fully developed, even right up to 25. So that's firstly what we are calling for. Secondly, I do believe it helps. Our organization is very much about urging and bringing parents together to sign parent pacts in primary school to delay smartphones. Of course, once your child has a smartphone or a tablet, that's the grand slide into portals like social media, which is so difficult to stop them. What else does a child do with a smartphone other than, get onto TikTok? So we believe that this minimum age restriction will definitely help parents in terms of being able to say it's not no forever, but it's no for now, and help them with the parenting boundaries, the tech boundaries that they're trying to set.
So obviously there are opponents out there, and many opponents that are basically saying that there's not enough hard proof to warrant the legislation. There's also many worrying that perhaps this will push children to VPNs, which is what we see happening, burner accounts, unregulated platforms. When you do sort of legislate something, a lot of other things pop up that perhaps are even worse than what is currently there. What do you think about that?
And those are all very real concerns. Some of them can be dealt with technologically. So, VPNs is one of the aspects that the Australian government has been looking at in terms of how our teenagers push boundaries and, how they love to, try and push those rules, a natural part of growing up. Teenagers do that with every other product that has an age restriction around it. But I think what the purpose of this is just to try and set what the new norm is. So if we were to do away with, an alcohol restriction of 18, which obviously is 21 if you look in the States, would we see this now being normalized that kids as young as 10 and 12 now, can drink until, they fall down? So I think these type of restrictions help to set cultural and community norms as to what is considered the correct advent of these behaviors once these brains have started developing, once children have got to a stage where they can start self-regulating. But again, that self-regulation process really only starts happening around 25, which is why a lot of our experts, actually international experts, say that probably we should only be letting our children have smartphones at 25. So
Wow.
right after they've already left home perhaps and gone to university or started studying.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to go home and test that on my children and tell them, I'm taking it away until you're 25 years old. Not sure that's going to work. I get fascinated as well when I look at, whether we talk about TikTok or all of these media platforms where, this is a place where you see kids creating content and doing a whole bunch of things. In fact, you see parents working alongside kids and, whether it be going on holidays and being influencers and using their kids in selling products and doing things. Now, how would this ban? And I even know of in lots of Australian families. I know my daughter watches one. The Norris Nuts or something. I have no idea, but I think they're Australian. And the thing is that, how would that work? Because they're using kids in these particular videos and to sell products and influence, and they make a living that way. What happens then?
Yeah. Well, these restrictions are only relating to the access by the minor to the account and being able to set up their own account. So fortunately, or probably in my view, unfortunately, parents would still be able to have their own accounts involving filming their youngsters, whether, that's a whole separate topic about young influencers and what impacts that's having on them when they are, they were basically a profit engine for the family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really about the account, who the account holder is, and what the age of that account holder is, to set up and access and use a particular social media account.
My question as well, and I've had this bugbear for a long time, what responsibility do these big tech companies have? Because they allow almost absolutely and everything to be put onto these platforms. And you try and report it, nothing happens. Whether it's fake, whether it's not real. I mean, I myself have been at the center of so many of them, and I still am. And the more I report them, the more accounts pop up. And the tech companies say, yeah, but it's not against our rules that somebody is actually impersonating you. I mean, it's bizarre. It is bizarre. And the reality is that for what I feel, and please, you add on to this, is that I feel that the tech companies are not taking any responsibility whatsoever. It's like they get away with it, and the world has to now try and live around their freedom.
Yeah. Well, it's a multi-billion dollar profiting industry, this. And this is really why we are sitting where we are with minimum age restriction starting tomorrow in Australia and going to be working its way around the world, is because legislative efforts, lawsuits have failed. They take an incredibly long time. And big tech has an enormous amount of money to defend many of these lawsuits. So it's been hugely difficult to get them to take the responsibility. They do have the capacity. They do have the ability. They have the technological know-how. There's been so many internal documents and released and whistleblowers that have actually indicated that these big tech companies do know what's going on, and they do have the ability to address it. So I think that it is a case of profit over the safety and the well-being of our youngsters, indeed of ourselves, because you and I both know how addictive our social media accounts are to us. They are designed to be addictive.
Absolutely.
Just like, based on the persuasive technology in the gambling industry. So, we've got to try and continually fight against it and use them as tools rather than the tools using us.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
It is hard. It really is. But I do look forward to seeing how this pans out in Australia and where in the world follows onwards. As you've said, there's other countries looking at that, and let's see if South Africa perhaps follows this trend. Who knows? Thank you. Thanks so much for talking to us, and please keep us updated.
Thank you for having us. Please do visit our website, all the listeners, www.sfc-sa.co.za, and come and join our wonderful NGO. Let's make a difference to this next generation.
Absolutely, Kate. Thank you very, very much. That's Smartphone Free Childhood South Africa. They're calling on government to look into this, to perhaps maybe look at regulating social media, and calling on government and schools to regulate the use of smartphone access to children who are under the age of 16. It's happening in Australia as of tomorrow. What do you think about that? Hey? It's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out and whether or not there's enough to actually stop it. Anyway, Kate, thank you for your time.